Welcome in, Bulldog Nation. This is Coach Bernethi, and I'm Danny Hanks, and you're watching the Coaches Show on LPSN. Coach, thanks for sitting down with us again. Obviously, last week we had a big rivalry game, a lot of emotion, and anybody that was at the game knows that the game was a lot closer than the score indicates. What do you think was the biggest difference?
Well, I do believe it was a different game than the year before.
Yes.
We had a penalty early that gave them some more downs, and they were able to score off of that penalty. We had a couple busts in pass pro where we had an open receiver where that could have probably been a touchdown. And then late in the game, we also had a drop in the end zone that could have been a touchdown. So you think about those three plays, you think about 21 points in a swing, and those are things that you learn from and you grow from. And week two, you probably don't make those mistakes like you would in week one. So I was proud of our team and their effort. I really think they showed up and played tough and hard-nosed football, and that's going to just make us better going forward.
Absolutely, there was a lot to take away from that game and feel good about for sure. And as a fan, it was just great to see. The energy was there, step for step, and it was a great deal. You know, the thing about that game with all the emotions is typically your underclassmen, your freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, they're going to be overwhelmed by that. But I didn't see that. You saw a lot of your young players really step up into the fold. What can you say about that?
I think as a whole, our whole entire team stepped up and played hard. But we had some players that have been recognized as Player of the Week. Ashton Ruffin and Blake Stout, who are two sophomores. Well, those kids are really just hard-nosed, tough football players. Yeah. And our freshman team went 10-0 last year. They're part of that winning group. This is what they care about. They love it. They're all invested in it. And then you have Kylan Manning and Tyrese Barnes, who were starters for us last year. Yeah. Where this game was their first experience. Last year, but I just think it's the mentality of those kids and the way they carry themselves and prepare themselves for the game. Absolutely,
and the one senior that was player of the game last week with Jalen Fisher, he got nicked up on the opening kickoff, I believe, but he came back in there and picked up right where he left off last year, so that was good to see. Speaking of seniors, there was a lot of talk about Luke Webb, the Oklahoma State commit at Deer Park, and how disruptive and what kind of game he was having. With the exception of one busted play, he was kind of quiet. What did we do to neutralize him?
Well, we made him a big deal throughout practice, and I think our kids took that as a challenge. We talk about, if you want to play at a Division I level, well, you got to block Division I guys.
Yeah.
And he's been portrayed as that, and rightfully so. He's a really good football player, and our kids took it as a challenge, and I believe they did a really good job.
Totally agree. They really were. And it speaks again to that heart and that just hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. They really stepped up. It was good to see. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're watching the Coaches Show on LPSN.
We are Gringo's Tex-Mex. Home to sizzling fajitas, quality ingredients, friendly team members, and excellent value. Whether it's a lunch with friends, celebrating a special occasion, or picking up dinner to bring home to the family, think Gringo's. We're in business today because of this great community that supports us, and we thank you. We are your hometown Tex-Mex, here to serve you before or after the game. Go Bulldogs!
All right, so Deer Park's in the rear view. Now we're approaching A-Lee Felsick, and they went out and got themselves a new coach, and they got themselves a week one victory, and they've kind of been on tough sledding the last couple of years, and I know personally looking at some of the tape, they look to be a different team. How are you preparing for the Rams this week?
Yeah, they're pretty aggressive on defense. Their D-line is very active, so we would like to use a lot of our misdirection type stuff to neutralize their speed. Defensively is, they like to run the ball with their backs, and they like to throw the ball. So just being lined up correctly and doing our assignments correctly and being where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there, I think is important for this week's game.
Absolutely. And going into this contest, are there any adjustments we've had to make, in personnel? We have any injuries or anything to speak of?
Yeah, we have one injury on the offensive line, so we've had to adjust a tight end to playing offensive line. So we're working on that this week. But as far as any kind of major injuries, we have some bumps and bruises, and that's per normal coming out of a physical game that was Friday. So I think we'll be fine other than just the one switch.
Okay, good deal. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. I know you're a busy man. And folks, we really need you to go out. This week's our first home game out at Mount Bellevue, Barbers Hill Eagle Stadium. We will be the home team there, so let's turn that stadium orange and come out and see us. We appreciate it. We hope to see you next week. You're watching The Coaches Show on LPSN.